Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Not come on in. Not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Bondy Blue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your girl Bondy Blue, and I am back for another Girlfriend Season 1 recap. So let's go ahead and get into episode 16, Friends, Colleagues, and Brothers. Okay. So this episode, William and Joan are vying for first chair on a highly sought after case. They are fighting over the seat next to Sweetelson, and they're not the only ones. Ken, the kiss ass white guy, offers his wife to Sweetelson for second chair, and William says, "Who hasn't had his wife?" Why is this man's wife someone who can be used as a bargaining chip in business? Like, that should just let you know off rip. The position of wife for a lot of these men is just an adage, something that is going to help them, an addition that is going to help them achieve their overall goal of child world domination, okay, or whatever, okay? So Joan is being ignored while the men talk about cars. She's trying to be serious at work, talking about this case, and they're ignoring her, talking over her. And it is really annoying. It feels as if she's babysitting a whole bunch of children. And then when she has a joke, then all of a sudden Sweetelson wants to get serious. Like, it's intentional. It's intentional to make her feel as if she doesn't have any power here. You're here because we need to fit a status quo, not because we actually want to hear from you. Okay. So Joan is offering up advice for this case and she's being ignored. And then Ken takes her idea, says the same thing to Sweetelson, and now he's brilliant. Girl, I cannot tell you in real life how many times I have trained men so that they can take the position above me. Yeah, it makes no sense. And honestly, I feel like it's some type of mental abuse to knowingly make a person train for a job that should be theirs, but because you want to put the person you want to put in that job, you have the person that actually knows what to do training the new person instead of promoting the person that is doing the training. Then you don't have to do the training. But it's all about who you're rubbing elbows with, who's kissing the most ass, who's friends with this person, who can, get in with the nepotism. Tony suggests that Joan use her sex appeal to her advantage. Maya suggests her brand of sister girl gathering, while Lynn points out how it's harder for men to hear a woman's voice. So maybe if she deepened her voice, maybe that would get their attention. All these attempts to be respected in spaces that you really should already be respected in. Joan is already junior partner. So the fact that she has to figure out ways to lower her voice so that the men will actually hear her is just exhausting. And another layer to our issues with corporate America as African American women or women, period. And to have men ignore that this is our experience and act as if it's so much harder for them, especially in moments like this, it's really annoying. It really, really is. Lynn is suggesting yoga to Maya to help her shrink her fibroids. And they end up with a handy yoga instructor who everyone just assumes is gay. And so they allow him to slap them on the butt or grab their breasts or just do a little bit too much groping and putting his center region on your backside while you're in downward dog. He touches Maya's breast and then had the audacity to have an attitude when she became offended. Girl, what? You were touching this woman's body in a way that makes her feel uncomfortable. And when she says something about it, you have the audaciousness to act as if she is wrong for responding to you in shock. Child, please. Tony and Lynn say, oh, girl, he's gay. And Maya is like, listen, I'm getting a bad vibe. And Lynn tells her, you're always with your conspiracy theories Maya, everything isn't a conspiracy. And it's like, yeah, but y'all also don't really pay attention. So Lynn and Tony telling Maya to ignore her feelings about being fondled by a stranger, so problematic, Lord. So problematic. I don't care if you are gay or straight. If a woman doesn't want to be touched, she doesn't want to be touched. She doesn't have to be okay with it because you are presumed to be gay. Like what? Joan finally gets to the conference room early so that she can get the seat next to Sweetelson. But then Christopher Darden, the very famous attorney, comes in and moves her from the seat. Sweetelson doesn't even remember giving Joan her promotion as junior partner and suggests he needs to lower his Viagra. Once again, jokes about sex or about some man's nether regions, but William can't walk into a woman's office and hear them discuss ovaries without having a conniption. Joan gets interrupted again by William. This time she loses it in front of everybody, cries, has the whole emotional woman moment. She's tired of being ignored and dismissed by the men in this room. Everyone looks at her like she's crazy, like she's completely lost it. And then the woman that is sitting next to her ignores her calls for solidarity because I'm sure this woman who is sitting there is also being ignored in this group full of men. Ken says that he forgot to warn everyone that she's having a ladies' day. I was just kind of like, seriously? Like, don't get me wrong. When women are on their monthly, yes, our hormones are raging and we may not necessarily be as calm or as understanding as we always are, but it doesn't have to be a period. You guys can just be really disrespectful and expect someone to constantly swallow it and take it. And I literally had a situation yesterday where so many of my so-called subscribers or fans or whatever, you want to call yourself, feel the need that if I don't fit into a perfect box for everybody, that I'm not rising to the occasion of where I am now. I'm above all of this now. And I just kind of feel like that's for me to decide. I feel like it's for every single person to decide how they want to respond or react to something. And ignoring mistreatment does not make you mature. It doesn't. It makes you a doormat. And if it makes you as a person feel better to swallow every time somebody offends you, every time somebody disrespects you, every time you feel the prick of someone's words and you feel the need to swallow it, that is your prerogative to swallow it. Everyone does not have to abide by that. And if they don't swallow it, it doesn't make them any less mature than you are simply because you're okay with receiving mistreatment. I want everybody to tap into that because the assumption that everyone always has to take some high ground is just really stifling and unfair and unrealistic. And I feel like you don't have to be a perfect person all the time. You don't have to fit into a box for people, and you don't have to sit silently as people disrespect you. I just don't abide by that. I think as a child, I did that for my entire childhood, just sitting there as people berated me or said mean things to me. I watched that happen. And yeah, I don't find any value and sitting there and being a dumping ground for people's negative emotions because of whatever bullshit they're going through. I don't believe in that. And so this is one of those episodes where you see how women are quiet so often until they can't take it anymore and then they blow up. So instead of just taking it and taking it and taking it until you blow up, how about you handle the situation in the moment? How about you get it off your chest in the moment so it's not a big blow up? Honor your feelings. Honor when you feel disrespected. That way you can have more control of yourself when you do spaz out. Okay. Joan crying and storming out of the conference room in front of these people was not the move to make. She really could have calmly said, "Excuse me, I'm so tired of you guys interrupting me. So if you would let me finish my statement, thank you." And then you continue on speaking. And then if you need to raise your voice an octave higher, then you do that too. I'm not saying to be standing up screaming in the office, but there's a way to assert yourself in a situation where people are trying to passive aggressively dominate you. And so I think that if we become more comfortable with conflict, then we can handle conflict better instead of thinking that we need to ignore conflict and just take on whatever emotions we feel just so the other people don't know they've offended us, so that we don't rock the boat. Yeah, no, I feel like rock the boat. That's how I feel, my opinion. Joan feels like William should have chosen his race over his gender. Yeah, this is a mistake that women often make, thinking that these men are going to be on your side because y'all are black. Yeah, no. That's not how this happens. Maya has to remind her that he is a George Bush voting Republican. Okay? And a lot of times the issue with black Republicans is that there is a blind spot to the civil injustices that Republicans are okay with. Like, Republicans are very hypocritical to me. And listen, there are issues in all of the political parties, but Republicans specifically talk about conservatism, but they only want to tell other people what to do with their bodies because they want everybody to fit into the status quo of what they think is acceptable. And then when it comes to their money, they want the government out of their pockets. And that's hypocritical to me, because you want to employ the government when you want to control other people. But when it comes to the government getting a part of your money so that you can pay for the country that you live in, yeah, then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, no government involvement. And I just feel like if you feel like there shouldn't be any government involvement in your pockets, then you absolutely shouldn't feel like there should be government involvement in my uterus. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy how your money matters more than my body. Insane. I have an issue with that. And therefore, I've never had patience for Republicans, specifically Black ones, because I feel like you're forcing yourself to be in a position so that you can ostracize yourself from the people that look like you. It's easier to act as if Black people's problems have nothing to do with you because you've reached a certain level of classism. But the truth of the matter is, if you Black, you still a nigga to somebody. You can still be pulled over. You can still be kept out of a restaurant or a Gucci store. You can still be discriminated against. You can still be disrespected, regardless of how you have attained wealth as a Black person or how you have attained prestige or access. You can still be reminded that you're just a nigga. And so there needs to be a line between the I'm Black, woe is me shit. Because I do understand that a lot of Black Republicans have the mindset that a lot of Black people just need to figure out this game and play the game versus always wanting to be a victim in the game. And I get that. But when you are constantly and consistently victimized within the game, it's very hard to stop focusing on how you're constantly being victimized in the game. It's very hard. And not everyone can do the cognitive dissonance and separate themselves from everybody that looks like them when things that are unjust are taking place. You think you fit into another group. And the truth of the matter is, it's giving pick me. Black Republicans often give pick me. And it reminds me of one of those Black men for Trump. All of the other people were able to post bail and get out of jail when everyone was arrested. What that was last week. One Black guy is still sitting in jail and nobody has posted his bail. And that's what we're talking about. The moment where you think you're siding with people like you and you find out that they don't really think that you're like them. They don't. They feel like they can use you and you're better than the other niggas. But essentially, you're still a nigga. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I've never seen it for Black Republicans. Not really. I do understand the conservatism as far as the taxes and all of that. Fine. But I feel like there needs to be a in between. And right now it feels as if you're either an ignorant bigot or you're a liberal that's just, doing way too much with the liberal. Okay. With the liberalism. Joan calls William into her office to talk to him. And he's expecting an apology from her because she undermined him in front of his superiors. She verbally assaulted him. I didn't even like that language. I didn't like that language at all because I feel like You basically did to her what white people do to black people often. You kind of pick at them or disrespect them or discount them in some manner. And instead of being accountable for it, you overreact to their rebuttal as if, whatever they did to you was so much worse than what it really was. Like to say she verbally assaulted him because she's a sore loser. Yeah, that's not as simple as it is. Like that's really a dumbed down, simplistic way of looking at a very nuanced situation. She says that he cut her off and stole her idea. He says he didn't hear her. You heard her. You just didn't care. She wants him to be on her side because they're black, but also because they're friends. Meaning that you tell me all of your personal issues and come to me crying whenever you need help in your personal life. But when we're in that conference room, all of a sudden, all the solidarity you expect from me goes out of the window. He tells her that he's not black when he walks into this office. He's an attorney just like all the other attorneys, and he's earned his right to be there. And that is true. And you do have to have that mindset in order to make it in that space. But you're lying to yourself if you think they don't see you as black. You're lying to yourself. They do see you as black. You don't need to see yourself as undeserving of being there. You need to know that you're deserving of being there. And a part of that is knowing that as a black person, you probably had to work 10 times as hard in order to get in that space in the first place. So not only do you deserve to be there, you're probably better than most of the people around you. You can be real about it. You don't have to adopt the idea that your blackness disappears because you want to be good and seen for just your job. It's not realistic as far as I'm concerned. He says it's not his job to babysit her or anybody else. And if he sees an opportunity, he's going to take it. He's going to choose himself. He's not going to have loyalty and solidarity. He's going to choose himself. And that's understandable because everybody has to choose themselves. And if other people are upset about that, that's for those people to deal with. But for me, I feel like this is the moment where Joan learns a valuable lesson. He's not as much your friend as you are his. That is where you need to take into account whenever you want to have his back about something, don't. That is the lesson learned. When you can step on his toes and step over him, do it. Don't have reverence for loyalty and y'all friendship and pro-blackness and all of that. That's why I tell y'all, I'm no longer being a martyr. Okay? I'll fight for the rights. But we're not doing solidarity for the sake of solidarity because a lot of the times it only works one way. He tells her to lighten up because she walks in the room like a school marm with work, 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 work mentality. And I'm so confused as to why that's an issue for you. Why is that a problem for her to be about her business when she comes into the boardroom? Why does she have to placate you guys' emotions and pretend to be one of the guys? Like, that's annoying to me as well. And it's a moment where y'all are constantly moving the goalpost. Do you want us to just be attorneys and be good at our jobs? Or do you want us to be rubbing elbows and caring about friendships and shit? You want her to be fake for y'all. It's a very weird dynamic for you to want somebody to pretend like they're not about work, but really be about work. Like, stop it. I'm not working myself into a pretzel for you. Maya Lynn and Tony get the yoga instructor to admit that he's not gay after fondling the women. Maya was right. Sometimes your conspiracy theorist, cousin, auntie is right. Okay. Sometimes the conspiracy theories are spot on. Okay. So don't always dispel them, girl. Joan apologizes to William in front of everyone, and Ken calls her a crybaby and then interrupts her again. The continued disrespect, which is why the apology should have also came with acknowledgement for how they constantly disregard her in that room. William jumps in and says, Ken, I think Joan was talking and we should try to hear what everyone has to say. And I guess this was William letting Joan know that her apology was appreciated and he will then have her back just a little bit in this moment. And I just kind of feel like, why couldn't you have done that from the beginning? I guess you didn't notice. I guess you really didn't hear her. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't. It was almost as if she had to humble herself after y'all offended her. She had to humble herself in order for y'all to give her what she was actually owed by even being at that table, which is for everybody to listen to what she has to say. Being at the table means you've earned the right for your voice to be listened to. And yet, still, here she is having to be backed up on people not interrupting her and listening to her. Don't tell me that this is easier for women, because it's not. We just deal with it anyway. It's not easier for women the way everybody likes to think it is. So Joan scores a win with Sweetelson before using Tony's advice to get first chair instead of second chair by bending over and showing her cleavage. And the joke, it was funny. It was a nice try, but she's still second chair. And so this is the moment where you realize you do not have to be so upfront with your beauty and your sexuality, right? Just be it. You don't have to bend down and show your boobs. Just wear the top that shows a little bit of cleave. He's standing. He can see you. He's taller. He can see your cleavage. You don't have to bend down. So that thirsty attempt was like, no, don't do that again, Joan. Okay, don't do that again. Just do your job, smile in these people's faces, and go home at the end of the day and drink your wine, eat your nice meal in your beautiful house, masturbate, fuck your sex addict boyfriend, and just go on with it until you figure something else out. But once you realize the environment, you do have to do what William said, which is learn how to game it and work within it if you want to be within it. But Joan, don't play yourself like that again with the boobage, girl. Don't do that. Just exude it. You know what I'm saying? Just be it. Don't try to show it. Just be it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the episode, there was like a fantasy moment where women run the world. Peace reigns, no more war ever, crime is non existent, child care and health care are universal. President Clinton did everything she promised. You guys, this moment is so huge for me because I really do feel like we would be in a totally different situation if the United States had elected Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump. I really do feel like that was the moment where our country decided to regress instead of progress. And I may not agree with everything dealing with Clinton. Like, you guys, I am one of those Black people that do believe that every white person has internalized racism, and they really don't have a choice because they've been raised in it. It's subconscious, and it's something you have to work to untangle. And if you don't work to untangle it, it's there. You know what I'm saying? It's just a socialization. Even though we can talk about how Hillary Clinton may not have been, the best ally at all times and all of these things, I still feel like she was more equipped for the job. And because we live in a misogynistic, sexist society that likes to pretend as if women are equal, y'all decided to instead elect an idiot that doesn't know what he's doing, lies, is a narcissist, and loves attention, whether it is good or bad. He also ruined our relationships abroad, which is a huge part of being a world power, getting along with other world powers. So yeah, I definitely feel like this was a moment in time where we're saying this is where we need to go. We need to go towards making women more in the role of leadership and respecting the role, but instead we regressed and went in the opposite direction. Maya asked, is there any word on when the men will be let out of the camps? Because she can use a little something. And I'm just kind of like, the fact that they had to put men in camps, girl, like, we still kind of talking about how we're going to handle this whole male versus female thing that is a constant, consistent battle, whether people want to realize it or not. On some level, I feel like the women that are always willing to sell out their homegirls for the dick, they're our downfall. The pick-me's, they're our downfall. And I don't know how we're ever going to get out of this imbalance in the world when there are so many male identified women that feel the only way to hold on to the power that they do have is to keep putting all of that power into the men that they love or are stigmatized behind. You feel me? But yeah, y'all, it was a good episode. It was a good episode. To me, this is one of those times where you see people for who they are, not who you want them to be, and you move accordingly. I hope y'all enjoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Enjoy the rest of the Girlfriends playlist, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.